And good morning. You'll have to excuse me. I was putting another log on the fire. 38 this morning. Now, I know as we go northward, it's going to be a little bit cooler than 38. Woof! It's nippy out there as daylight is starting to break. We should get to a high of only 69 today. I like that 60-degree weather. Yesterday was perfect, wasn't it? I don't think anybody will get sick over this. It'd have to be a little bit more drastic change. Let's hope not there. But, boy, some changes in temperatures, and it will warm back up. We'll get into the forecast here in just a moment. Now, we've got several things that are going on. As we look at I-20, they're still doing cleanup. I-20 eastbound lane is where this is. It's going to be around mile marker 106 if you're coming toward Meridian from the Jackson area. 18-wheeler overturned, a car went off in the bushes, and they are there still getting that all cleaned up. Shouldn't be much longer. It happened some time ago. We have another wreck, Highway 35 South in Leake County. As I've been trying to get the exact location, I was originally told it was just north of the Dollar General, there on Highway 35 near Walnut Grove. I'm told maybe it could be a little bit further north of that. If you've been through there and you know the exact location, let us know so we can tweak the exact location. But if you're traveling 35 south, north of Walnut Grove, use caution. There could be a wreck you come upon, 18-wheeler overturned there. Also is what we're understanding this morning. We got all types of things to talk about when it comes to local headlines. Y'all remember that? What was it McGruff said? Let's take a bite out of crime? Yeah, it happened last night. We'll tell you all about how MPD took a bite out of crime. That comes up at 7 o'clock this morning. Right now we go to Collinsville. Let's get that good word of the day and start it here at the Collinsville First Baptist Church.
Many throughout history have given thought to the idea of silence, or keeping your mouth shut. Euripides, the Greek playwright who lived in the 5th century BC, is often attributed to the quote, "The good and the wise lead quiet lives." A quote often attributed to President Abraham Lincoln, but more likely belonging to the author Maurice Switzer says, "Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and to remove all doubt." These are interesting ideas, right? Being silent is akin to being wise. Talking too much can be seen as foolish behavior. You see, Proverbs 21:23 says, "The one who guards his mouth and tongue keeps himself out of trouble." How many times have you had to eat your words? Something slips out of your mouth that you immediately regret and wish you could take back. When we watch and filter what we say, we keep ourselves out of trouble. The Bible consistently speaks of how we should use our words carefully and sparingly. The book of James speaks to the power that our words have. And in James 1:19, it says that we should be quick to listen, but slow to speak. Paul says in Colossians 4:6 to let your speech be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you should answer each person. Jesus himself understands the power of words and says in Matthew 12:36 that we will give an account of every careless word we speak on the day of judgment. Our words have the power to encourage, but they can also get us into some serious trouble. So when you're feeling that itch to say something that you may soon regret, just zip it. You might just keep yourself out of the doghouse. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back as we get our word for the day. Off we go again, 38. It could come down a degree or so as we move into these early morning hours. Already 6:35 as we do that. We'll talk about the fishing forecast. We got all of that coming up. As we all know, and we'll get deeper into this because it's more of a local event, Mississippi making national headlines this morning as a bridge collapsed in Simpson County. We have 3 dead, 4 people in critical condition. What they were doing was rebuilding. They were taking the bridge down. We don't know what went wrong. They're investigating it. Pray for our people. 3 people dead, 4 in critical condition as they were life-flighted yesterday afternoon from the scene. As we look at this federal money that's been, and it's a dab in the bucket of what we've given away to other countries lately, $2 billion has been given to states for recovery efforts from these hurricanes. $2 billion. It's still climbing daily as to what's going to be needed. Pray for our folks. We need that. Oh, boy. These domestic arguments, they get really, really bad. Is it The Power of Love? Y'all remember that song by, who was it? Huey Lewis and the News. It's strong. It can be good, and it can also be bad. Here's an example of it being bad here. A woman is charged in the murder of her husband after he discovered she was having an affair on him. Utah is where that went on. So instead of facing the music for what she had done, she took his life. Now she has no life either. It could have just ended and, well, they got a divorce, but that's not how that went. You truly don't know what someone is thinking when it comes to these subjects. Be careful, be cautious. A rabbi, Maryland, Dylan Ray is up there, my son, up near Washington, D.C. is where this is. A rabbi was attacked, and get this, with a wooden stake. They're going to charge the guy with a hate crime. Why would you do that? It's like watching Dracula or something. He's going to be okay, but someone's going to face the music over that. We see down in Florida, and why you would do this makes me scratch what little hair I have left on my head. Utility workers, the guys, the linemen, they were threatened by a man that wanted to take them out. I guess he felt as though they were taking too long to restore his power. He's being handled, and it won't be good for him either. Have you ever heard of the company Airbus? It's a competitor of Boeing. As Boeing, and I think one of the stories I've got this morning, they're entering month 2 of a strike. Workers wanting more money. This company, Airbus, they just laid off 2,500. Maybe you should go back to work while you still have a job. Just saying, times could get tough before all this is said and done. Oh, here's one for you. One of those that, this is just me thinking out loud. I'll say that before I say that. The Secret Service has developed a guide for state and local law enforcement to prevent targeted violence. My thoughts are this morning, practice what you preach. That sound?
Yeah.
Let's start with sloped roofs. Let's move on to using drones. Having enough manpower to handle a scene. I could go on and on. Secret Service. I'm not sure any other law enforcement agencies would have handled it the way y'all did. Again, practice what you preach. Sometimes that's tough for a lot of folks there. This falls into the category of I don't understand when there's so many bigger problems. We go to, this is going to be the Bronx, New York. A guy calls the police and he says, look, I just found a box of 7 puppies. I don't guess he got the answer that he wanted, so he took the puppies to the police station in a crate, sets them out, and drives off. They've got a manhunt looking for him because he abandoned the puppies. What? It was in the middle of the night. He didn't know what to do with them, so he takes them to the police. And now they're after him when there's crime. There's people getting out after they steal things of value. And they're worried about a guy that was really, I think, trying to help the puppies. I may not have all of the facts, but he didn't leave them on the side of the road. He took it to where they could be helped. He found them. I may have missed something there. Here's one that really, I'm down to half a hair now on my head as I scratch this. Now, I understand when something goes wrong and it doesn't work out the way you think it should. You have someone, and we have these in Meridian. Odie has done this, where you have planned responses. A couple of our area hospitals done this lately, to where they do a trial run to where an emergency. Y'all saw me out at the nursing home not long ago. The fire department showed up on the scene. They'd done a mock. Okay, we've got a fire. We can't get into the room. Well, they did a drill in Michigan at a psychiatric hospital. Now, again, what they done was wrong. They did a drill and forgot to tell the residents at the hospital that it was a drill. It was some panic. I'm not going to lie. But everybody at the hospital has sued, and a judge has ruled that they have to pay everybody that was there. They're going to split it up, $13 million. Mistakes happen in life. It was an accident. $13 million. Roughly everybody there is going to get $60,000 each for mental anguish. And we wonder why we're in the state that we're in. The land of gimme, 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 gimme. Am I wrong on this?
No,
I don't agree with this at all. Again, I hate that it happened, but that's life. Mistakes happen. And I understand it caused some discomfort and things didn't go well for a few hours over it, and you may have been panicked a little bit. But $13 million lawsuit because you didn't announce that? I think there was other ways to handle this to make the place do right next time. But things will never get better as we have judges that make decisions like this. I'm out of whack on that one. I don't get it there. Here, let's move on to the next one that makes you go, huh. The Nebraska Supreme Court rules convicted felons who completed their sentences can now vote. Now, that used to be a thing. That was a big thing in America. If you were a convicted felon, it taught you not to do crimes, because if you did, you couldn't vote. You wouldn't have other rights later. Well, you do that now. Well, let's move over to Alabama. We done this in Mississippi, and I'm shocked that somebody hadn't tried to pull this. Alabama, where they went in and they purged the voter polls of people that had passed away, that were no longer on the rolls, were moved away, were taken off. The federal judge has blocked that. Seriously, they've blocked it. If you've passed on or you've moved from a state, your name should be removed from the voter rolls. That was done in Mississippi. It almost makes you think that someone has a different agenda, doesn't it? And I don't know all the answers to that. Add it together and see what you come up with. Here's a miracle. 67 days. It's almost like Gilligan's Island to a degree. A Russian man in a inflatable boat survived 67 days before he was rescued. That's good. I don't care what country you're from. That had to be frightening. And what would you eat in the ocean for 67 days? I'm not sure all the details there, but that's a blessing there. I brought this up. I don't remember if it was Monday or if it was Tuesday where we lost a little boy's life in Tennessee. Hayride. Fell out and a tractor ran over him. We've had our second incident now. Minnesota is where this one happened. Y'all, we're getting near Halloween. There's a lot of tractors. There's a lot of trailers that are going to be pulled. Watch your kids. They're going to be playful, but 2 lives so far in the U.S. of A is just too many. Teach them to sit down. Don't let them run around. It breaks my heart. Their lives will forever be moved by this. It's tough there. This you remember the song Tim McGraw, "Live Like You Were Dying," and what he done when he was told that he had X amount of time to live? He went skydiving, rode a bull. Here's an example of a mother. She was told that she didn't have long to live. She knew that she didn't have money for her kids, and she did a fundraiser. She ended up raising, I think she had 2 children. She ended up raising, I think through GoFundMe's and bake sales, $1 million and put it into an account. She has now passed away. She did that before she died. She was 30. She's put a little nest egg so they'll be able to get along without her. I'm not sure who will adopt the kids. I'm sure it's some family members of something, but she took it serious when she got that news, and will help her children on down the road. We go to Los Angeles, California next for our next headline. A standoff yesterday. It didn't end well for the bad guy. He had killed someone down the road. He had tried to do a standoff with the police. He was taken out. No more troubles out of that. Oh, boy. Let's go to New York here. I guess he had experience, and, well, she had the know-how. A cop and a teacher. He's a veteran cop, as a matter of fact. What was that? Was it The Badge? What was that show? That TV show? The bald-headed guy was the cop that was a little on the dirty side. Was it The Badge?
Yeah, I don't know if it was The Badge.
It's something like that. I remember watching it. It was a pretty good show. And they done things that weren't, well, to the letter of the law. Well, here it is in real life. A veteran cop and a teacher, well, they open up a string of brothels. They've been making money on the side. They've been busted. Can't be doing that. Let's see what else we've got this morning. Well, we got a recall here. Maybe you've bought some of this. I'm guilty of getting some of this because I try to help my mother as much as I can, and, well, I can't cook. So I have to go get those little meals and things like that help her along the way. This is Bruce Pack. Anybody ever heard of that? It's a recall on it, and they're calling back 10 million pounds of it. They're ready to eat chicken products. They're being recalled over listeria risk, and we all know how that is. That's a scary one. The guy did look like Kojak, but it was a different show that was, I think, on Fox.
Yeah, he's one that played that rock thing on.
The rock thing? Odie's trying his best to remember. It was really, I'll have to Google it before the next show and come up with the name of it. But boy, I sure liked it. He got a little out of hand from time to time. Indiana University. Where was that university years ago where the coach, that famous coach, was accused of sexually harassing players? It's happening now at the University of Indiana, the basketball coach there. They're accusing the team doctor. The Shield. That's it. I was close to badge. I was beating all around the bushes, they say. Look at there. Matt Green had it. The Shield. And it was Penn State, Bob. You're right. I couldn't remember that. But it's almost the same thing there. And Lord knows as many accusations that we've seen come out of the Olympics with all this stuff. And think about that. Parents sometimes let their kids chase a dream, especially when it comes to the Olympics, and they more or less turn their children over to someone to train for months and years. And then you have things like that happen. Nor do you want this to happen when they're shipped off to college. Should be bigger penalties. It should make people scared to even think about doing something like that. We have gotten very, very on our laws and things, very, very light. Does anyone agree? Well, it's kind of like that thing of, you ever seen the parent tell a child, if you do that again, I'm going to do this to you. The child does it. And I'm really warning you, if you do that one more time, I'll do this. And the parent never does. It means the child is in charge. Y'all know, y'all have seen it. And that leads to adults doing things that they shouldn't. Because there's never a line of, I know if I do that, there's punishment. You have to have checks and balances in life. All the way up to adult. Y'all know that. I'm not teaching y'all anything you don't know. We'll be right back as we'll get into the forecast in just a second. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
When I was elected to the state Senate 9 years ago, my goal was to bring a new generation of conservative leadership to the Capitol to get things done. I'm Mississippi Supreme Court to do the same thing. I've written legislation to lower taxes and reduce regulations on farmers, manufacturers, and other businesses in Mississippi. On the Supreme Court, I'll use my experience and conservative values to always interpret the law, not to rewrite it or bend the rules for anyone.
When it's time to store something, think Store Local Storage. It's conveniently located next to Northeast Park, and it's gated. On top of that, it's climate control, so no matter the season, it'll protect your things. 24-hour security, a covered loading dock, fire sprinklers, and you can choose the storage unit that suits your needs. From a 5x5 all the way up to a 10x30, you choose the space that you need. Call Store Local Storage today at 601-490-1618, Highway 39 North Meridian.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Getting a lot of requests for rain for food plots. Greg's wanting that also there. As we check our forecast, let's go back to those record highs and record lows. In 1947, it was 92 today. Our lowest was 1943. We're not really that far off from that. The record low was at 33. We were at 38 the last check that I made on the forecast. As we move forward, look at that. 69 is the best we'll see today, and it'll stay that way northward to Columbus, to Stark Vegas. 70 over at Greenwood, and it will remain that way all the way down the river to Natchez. Brookhaven still at 69. We see that Bama has 70 today, almost carbon copy of Mississippi. A tad cooler in Birmingham at 67. Now, here's what we've got with the fire danger today and tomorrow. Just don't do it. It's too crispy outside. You light a fire, the wind catches it, and the whole neighborhood's on fire. Be careful, don't do it. Wait a little while. We will get rain eventually. As we look to Bama, look at this. The frost advisory bigger today than it was yesterday, including all of Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Fayette. Look at that. Clanton, all of those areas have frost. It'll make its way to Mississippi eventually. Here's what we've got as we look across this warmer weather forces. Temperatures after today will start, moving up. As we look at our 7-day forecast, we're at 68, 69 today. We'll get down to 41 tonight. possibly 39. We'll see. As we see tomorrow, warms up to 72, then 74. And Sunday, we're back at that 77-degree mark. Still perfect weather, even at our worst there. On Tuesday, back to 82, 83. We have no complaints over any of that. Nice weather, but zero if you're a deer hunter. Looking at this, 0% chance for the next 7 days. We get a 12% chance there on the 24th. Our biggest chance still moving in on the 30th of the month, the day before Halloween. That's not huge, but it is the best we can offer at this point. High's not getting over 84 at this point, and then back down to the 70s on Halloween. Should enjoy yourself that day. Let's see, our fishing forecast calls for a northeast wind today around 5 miles an hour. As we move across, we've got major time today. It's going to be around 7:30 this morning. 7:30 to 9:30 is what we're expecting. We should see another time. It's after dark. We'll get some minor fishing there right around dark 30. So your best as we scratch it all the way is going to be this morning from around 7:30 until 9:30 is what we're expecting when it comes to that. As we look at our deer hunting times, as we go to Wimberley Taxidermy tells us that best time to hunt today is going to be around 11:50. We'll carry that to about 2 o'clock. From 11:50 to 2 o'clock would be your major time to deer hunt today. Daily rating is best. Sunrise at 7 a.m. today. Sunset will happen around 6:18 this afternoon. So that's something to think on. Now look at this. This has been decreasing. This was a lot higher. This was at 50% yesterday of this developing into something. It's down to 30. I think this was at 30 yesterday. So odds are decreasing. So the odds are in our favor at this point. We're not out of the woods. We'll watch these storms closely. Hopefully they'll fade away. That's what we hope. Now let's go and take a look at radar and get a closer look at this. Let me pull this back up. Have a few buttons I have to hit. I wasn't ready, was I? Let's turn off locations as we pull this up where you can see exactly what we're looking at here. Here we go with radar this morning. State of Mississippi is all clear. Nothing going on there. As we mentioned, over to our east in Tuscaloosa and all of these areas of frost. Look at that. Frost advisory. In fact, Gadsden has a little bit of fog. Even over at Columbus, Georgia, we've got fog this morning. Conway, Arkansas has frost. Knoxville, Tennessee, look at that. Full of fog this morning. And it's thick, thick, thick. We'll see a little bit east of Nashville and east of Murfreesboro. Nothing bad. Asheville, these areas up through here, we've got some freeze warnings going on if you're in the North Carolina area. And again, that makes it tough for these folks who don't have power yet all along through there in the Carolinas. Keep them in mind. Keep a little prayer going for them. Already 6:54. We're coming back live in roughly 2 minutes. Don't rush off. We'll be back as we got coffee brewing, and we'll have the morning show for you starting at 7 with Scotty Ray. Join us, won't you? We'll see you in just a moment.